Greetings. Welcome back to A Cup of Conversation with me, Nidra Simmons. It's been a minute since I've been on. This was one busy week. But I want to come on to just talk about reflection with a little bit of uh, talking about some of the reasons people manipulate. So manipulation and just to have a cup of conversation and some food for thought. I was fine a little while ago. It just got hot. I had a whole cup of coffee, which was good because I haven't had a cup of coffee in a couple of weeks. But I've had tea. But anyway, just sharing. But I want to talk about reflections. It's been so busy, so I had to cut away from my normal routine where I used to get up every morning and come out and just sit on the patio and just listen to nature. So I try to squeeze it in every, here and there, but it didn't connect because I kept hearing, or I was clashing in with the neighbors being out, and they were making a lot of noise. So I didn't have that peace that I was getting used to, which is okay because change happens for a reason. It's important to take time for yourself to, get in those moments to where you can reflect, because we're not machines. We are built to learn. We're built to understand, and then we're built to gather our thoughts together, so that we can make sense of things. My children, when they were growing up, they asked a lot of questions, and they didn't do things until it made sense to them. And a lot of us out here do things, and we don't take the time to calculate or to understand why we're doing what we're doing. Is this something that's going to be beneficial, or is this something that makes no sense? I tell my kids every day, well, I don't have kids now, I have grown folks and teenagers, that, as parents, we're learning along the way. So we're not perfect. We don't know everything. So I give glory to God, and I thank God. And let me do that while I just remembered. Giving honor and glory to God first and foremost, and giving respect and appreciation and gratitude as well, God and our spirit team, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, archangels, guardian angels, all angels in the highest Christ of light, ancestors, guardian ancestor, spirit team, here and far. I do this because I want to show gratitude to all of our helpers, because we don't do this by ourselves. Even though those who think that they're by themselves, you're not by yourself. But as I was saying, my kids was asking a lot of questions, and at one point I was like, why are you asking so many questions? Just do it because I'm your mama. I said to do it. But we're all different. We are created differently, and we're all uniquely made. And we all have our own reasonings and ways of thinking. And sometimes it needs to make sense to us so that we can do things properly, do things correctly. And old school parents might say, you're being rebellious. Don't ask me no questions. I say do it. But it needs to make sense to why we're doing it, so that we can know what we're doing, we can be the best at what we do, and the outcome can be promising. Or maybe you're not in your right mind at the moment, and you're dealing with a lot of stuff, so you're just talking, and what you're talking is not making sense, because we can confuse the heck out of our children. We can be doing so much, say, go sit down, then go give me a cup of water, go wash, go do this, go take out the trash. You're giving them all these different commands, not even giving them time to do the first thing that you asked them to do. Just because you may move fast doesn't mean they have to move fast. We're all differently made. We all calculate things different. We all move differently. And saying all this to say, yesterday I had a moment of reflection, and I am not perfect. You guys are not perfect. We all make decisions and choices daily. I find myself apologizing to my children because, you know, every now and then they'll talk to me, my teenagers. I keep saying children. I got grown folks, y'all. Every now and then we'll have a conversation and they'll reflect or they'll reminisce on something that took place in the past or something reminds them of somebody or something. And then, you know, they'll share with me. And I'm grateful for that because some kids don't talk to their parents. And I encourage you, children, talk to your parents. They're there. They're not mind readers. They have a lot of experience and wisdom, but they're not mind readers. They still need you to come to them to see what it is that they can help you with. But like I said, every now and then they'll reflect. And I find myself apologizing because, like I said, I'm learning along the way. I have 4 grown folks. And I always tell my oldest one, she was the experimental child. We grew together. She was the first child for me and my husband. She was the first grandchild from my mother and his mother. So she had got the best of things and she's got the worst of things. She was the first, so she got a lot of stuff. And then she was the first, she got a lot of trial and error. And she was sheltered the most. And then I had my second oldest one who fell along in the same category, but it wasn't as firm. And plus, she was more talkative. So she was like me when I was younger. You got to tell me why we're doing what we're doing. I need to know what. It has to make sense. She could have been like her father, too, when he was younger. And then I had my son, who was the only boy. So he got spoiled in some ways, but then he also had the short end of the stick because he was then my experimental child because he was the first boy that I had. And then I had my daughter, and she's the baby, and she is the spoiled one because she has come along and there's wisdom and knowledge. Now, she doesn't have her father here now in these later teenage years because he's passed away, but she has me, and I can share with her everything that I know. And so she's got the best end of the stick because she's spoiled, but then she doesn't have she doesn't have the best end of the stick because she doesn't have the father figure there to help her. And it's very important to have a father figure and a mother figure. But for females, as you're growing up into your teenage years, and I'm speaking from experience, it is very important to have that father figure there to tell you that you are beautiful, to tell you that you are loved, to tell you that that person is not for you, that person is being nice to you, or to distinguish the difference between a person doing a job and a person generally doing something for you. Now, I'm going to try my hardest to make sure she doesn't fall in the same category as me as far as growing up without that, because I'm going to let her know every day that she's beautiful, or as often as I can, because I have to work, and she has school, so there's times in the day that we're not together. But it is going to be my goal, and it has been my goal, to tell my children that they're beautiful, that they're wonderfully made, that they're strong, that they're special, that, keep encouraging them because they need to hear it. Even grown folks need to hear it. And this brings me to a current moment of reflection. Now, like I said, I'm not perfect. I've made decisions, and I had to come to, and I've not just now, but I've come to understanding and acknowledging to myself that I forgive me, and that I'm not perfect, and that everything I go through is a learning experience. Sometimes I might catch the message or the lesson, or sometimes I won't. And then sometimes I have to repeat it. Now, we're going into another year. So this last 6 years or so, has been very different in my life. I closed out a lot of cycles. I consider myself a generational curse breaker. I've considered myself a generational curse breaker since I was a very young child. I couldn't tell you that's what it was called, but I had felt it. And then when I came in my older years and heard that term, it just clicked. It felt like that was me, and it is like that was just me. I took ownership of that acknowledgement as soon as I heard the terminology generational curse breaker. A lot of people may not agree with me on that. That's okay. You don't have to. You have your journey, I have mine. You have your destination, I have mine. You have your purpose, I have mine. So you can't make your purpose my purpose, and I can't make my purpose your purpose. It's different, we're different, and we all have a place on this planet. So I'm saying that to say we have a lot of people that might be used to being overpowered and having the last word. And we have a lot of old school religious people who are set in their ways. And that's okay, to each his own. But just like the world revolves and changes every year, so do individuals. We can't have the same mindset we've had 6 years ago because things have changed. And as we progress and move into the future, it's going to be so more complex and simple. At least that's how I see it to be. It may not be because, trial and error. But I believe the goal is they're trying to make things very fast-paced and simple. We didn't have microwaves before. We have microwaves now. The purpose of a microwave is to quickly heat up your food or cook your food quicker than you would cook it if you didn't have a microwave. You had to change with the time. Now, mostly everybody have a microwave in their house, okay? Just like telephones. We had the cordless phone, the big old rotary phones and stuff like that. Big old phones that had to be stationed in one place, and you had to take your tail to the phone to talk. To now, then came beepers, and then came cell phones, those big old block cell phones that used to be in the cars. Now you have all shapes and sizes of cell phones. So we have to adjust and change with the time. It's just a part of life. You cannot stay stuck in one mindset. And when you know better, you do better. That's been my phrase for life for a very long time. So I'm trying to stay on track. So if I seem like I'm coming off, I'm going to try to bring myself back. So this is still under the umbrella of reflecting, okay? And when you have people that try to take your story and dim it and make their story the light, that can be a form of manipulation if you fall for it. Don't second guess your beliefs or what you know to be true. I had somebody say to me before, how do you feel you're a generational curse breaker? Why would you put that responsibility on you? Some of those responsibilities are not choices that I've made. It's just been a calling on my life before I even got to this point. So I don't expect you to understand, but I do expect you to respect me. So if I say something, or if I could tell you that I have, I feel like this hair hanging from somewhere. But anyway, if I have boundaries and I'm telling you I'm not going to go past these boundaries, and you feel that you are the man and I have to do what you say, And I'm telling you out there, for those who are in that situation, who feels like they can't make decisions because they have other people that don't understand you, or other people that feel like what you're talking about is nonsense. It's not nonsense because you don't get it. All of these people that invented things in life, I'm pretty sure they had people tell them, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Oh, you cuckoo, you crazy. You can't do all of that. And then, boom, here comes the creations of all the things that they said they couldn't do, they're now doing. And we're all benefiting from it. So sometimes we just need to learn how to zip it and just see how things go. Sometimes we just have to flow. And trust the outcome. If you know that what you're doing is to better somebody, to help somebody, and you're doing it with love, then most likely the outcome is not going to be a negative outcome. Now, you may hurt somebody's feelings along the way, but if it's helping them to go forward, if it's helping them to heal, then it's okay, because in the end, they're going to be better for it. Now, I was starting to say about within the past 6 years or so in my life, I have undergone some serious changes. I have closed some serious chapters. And I guarantee you, if you would have told me this in advance, that I'm going to stop on It's Gonna Get Real Life Avenue, I probably would have negotiate something different. But like I said, everything that we go through is a lesson in life. This life that we live on is called Earth School. We're going to learn every day, even if we choose not to. You're going to learn something. Eventually, something is going to click. You're going to get tired of bumping your head against a concrete wall. Eventually, you're going to say, oh, that hurt. That really hurt. So let me stop. Why am I doing this? Now, sometimes it might take longer for others to get it. And sometimes it won't. And sometimes we have to go through things to understand things better. I just hope that's not a bug that's around my... nope, it's here. But sometimes we got to go through things through experience versus just being told, because we might not understand it. And God wants us to understand everything that we do so that we can learn from it and that we can move forward and you don't fall back. All right, so recently I had a conversation with some, I guess you can say friends or co-workers, however way you want to call it. And they had asked me a question. And the question along the lines was, what was my reasoning on my choices in a particular relationship? And I respect them, for coming to me and asking me that question. I also came back with the question, why didn't you say this sooner? And they said, well, we didn't want to embarrass you or hurt your feelings. I said, well, okay, I can respect that too, but we are not perfect. We're learning, and some of us have deeper learning issues than others. And no, it's not for us to broadcast it and tell all the people around us what it is that we're going through. But it is nice to ask somebody, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? After my husband had passed, I thought I was stronger. I was determined to make myself stronger because I had children and I didn't want them to feel like they're shortchanged or lost with anything. I put my feet to the ground, my knuckles to the concrete, and I made sure that my kids didn't miss out on anything. And in the process of trying to provide and supply things that they needed, I did shortchange them because they didn't have me physically there. So I didn't have balance. And most of my life, I didn't have balance. I am feeling now that I'm very much balanced and solid and more concrete now. But back then, it was a struggle, because even my kids ask me, Mom, why are you making these choices? Why are you making these decisions? Because I can remember at one point I told them, okay, it's just us. We're going to have to get together and we're going to have to make it. And my kids, God, I give you the glory, I thank you, took that to heart, because we stuck together in that time frame and we worked together and we made it through. And even to this day, my children will still help one another and they will help me. So I am so grateful, and I give God the glory for that, because it was God and the Spirit team that stuck around to make sure that we stayed together. Now we're in our own separate places. We're still together. We still understand the value of family. We still understand the meaning of love. We still understand and respect one another. Everything that I was looking for in my own personal upbringing in life with my brothers, I now have with my children. And that goes along the lines of, when you know better, you do better. So I encourage families to appreciate each other. And I'm talking about the families that's under one roof. If you have a husband and a wife and your children, that one roof right there needs to build a solid foundation with everyone that's underneath that roof, that's together in that home. Because when you build that, when they start to go out, the outside world won't have a reflection on trying to break you apart, because the outside world will try to divide you. They will try to divide that marriage. They will try to divide that relationship between your children, because A, they don't understand, and 2, they just don't care, and 3, they don't have it because they're jealous, or because they don't understand it. There's many reasons out there for that, but I do strongly encourage that you build that solid foundation within your home first, because no one's promised tomorrow, and if something happens to somebody, they can still gravitate and understand, okay, this is what we need to do. So I just want to encourage you on that. And this is, going back to reflections and manipulation. You don't want to let other people manipulate your situation. Don't be so quick to want to please somebody else. Even if you're outside working. I mean, me personally, I always try to be the best at what I can do, and I try to make sure that I am that one that you can count on in that job. But I'm not going to be the only one you're going to be coming to, and I'm doing all the work. The old me, yes. The new me, not so much. But I hope that I'm saying something that is encouraging. I hope that I'm saying something that is getting you to get to a point to where you can be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, wow. Now I understand. So that you can trigger something within yourself to better yourself and to want to go forward. And it's okay to take moments of reflection. Now, I don't like crying. And I found myself in tears yesterday. And I really couldn't explain why the tears were coming, because I didn't have any set physical emotions attached to it. I just know it was like a releasing. It was like okay, I did it. This is it. It was like, okay, woosah. Now on to the next. It was refreshing. And, I had to acknowledge everything I felt, because within my last 6 years, the choices I've made had left me confused. It had left me feeling depressed. But not depressed to where I would do something serious. It was just why did I make that decision? What was I thinking? And I made these promises, and then I went back. It was, along those lines. It made me feel sad. It made me feel hurt. And all this is in the same week of my deceased husband's birthday. His birthday was on the 22nd. I felt fine on the 22nd. I felt fine on the 23rd. Nope. Yesterday was the 23rd. I felt fine on the 22nd. But on the 23rd, I had a moment of sadness, because I told myself if he was still here, I wouldn't have gone through all the things I went through within the past 6 years. But then again, I would have went through something else. Either way, every solution has a side effect. Every medication you take has a side effect. Every food you eat is going to have a side effect on your body. So that's the same all across the board. So I acknowledged how I felt. I didn't run from it. I didn't hide it. I just felt it. And I said out loud, I acknowledge what I feel. And then I had to make a decree that this is just a closure of what I felt. I am not disappointed in the decisions I made, because it taught me, and it's made me a better person. It's made me more balanced. It's made me more aware. So I am not going to feel bad about the decisions and choices that I made. I'm going to feel good because I've overcome those situations. I'm going to feel good because I'm a better person for it. I'm going to feel good because by me sharing this, I'm helping others out there. So I eliminate any negative feeling. Anything that was trying to bring me down a lower bar, I remove it. And I give glory and honor to God for the strength and the power that they instilled in me to be able to move forward, to help and teach others. So I balance myself out. And I didn't know what to talk about today when I came on. I just sat here. I listened to some things on the internet. I drank my cup of coffee. And then I hit the record button and just let it flow. So again, this is about almost 25 minutes in this video. So I hope whoever gets to see this sees it until the entire video. And I pray that it reaches the people that God intended it to reach. And I pray that it touches the hearts of every single person that listens to it, and that it wakes them up, make them alert, and it gives them that self-love and leads them to a more balanced situation, life, or whatever that they may be encountering or going through. So until next time, keep a smile on your face as long as you can. Love yourself, forgive yourself, pat yourself on the back, because you're healed. Give God the glory, because the spirit that's within that vessel has allowed you to move forward. And God has allowed you to be able to think, be in your right mind, to see, to hear, and to understand. So until next time, peace.